COVID definitely cemented, the need for people to, spend more time at home with their families, with their loved ones, just balancing more of, what's important in life as well, as opposed to really just being a workaholic a lot of the time.
This is the Deep in the Weeds podcast. I'm Anthony Huckstep. It's hard to fathom, but it's been almost 2 years since we last caught up with Sharon Salloum, who at the time was running award-winning Almond Bar and Three Tomatoes Cafe with her sister. So much has changed for so many since 2020, including Sharon. Sharon, how are you going?
I'm very well, Anthony. How are you?
I'm good. I can't believe that it's, almost 2 years since we had a chat, and so much has changed for you. What's life like at the moment?
It feels very cruisy, to be honest. I feel like an imposter chef sometimes because it's almost too nice in some ways.
Wow. Well, tell us a bit about what you're doing.
So basically, I have one job now instead of two, but I also have an almost 1-year-old at home. So there's lots of fun at home, which is kind of nice. And we are focusing solely on the cafe at this stage. So that's been really, really nice doing that. So daytime work, eating at normal hours, coming home at normal hours, having probably a healthier diet and a healthier lifestyle overall, really.
What's it like having this existence that wasn't your existence previously, that sort of 9 to 5, almost normal sort of job? I love it. I feel like, after doing 14 years of, dedicating so much of myself and my life to the restaurant, it's still, I feel like some days I'm still trying to adjust to the change. It's been almost a year now since we closed the restaurant. And I just feel, there's still some days where I look out the window because I could see the Anzac Bridge from our place, and I look out the window and I just think, on a Saturday night, and I'm like, I was never standing somewhere looking outside a window on a Saturday night unless it was a pass, You mentioned it's been a year since closing Almond Bar. It made such an amazing impact and was such a huge part of your life and all the people that dined there as well. Take us back to that time and that decision and of closing it.
It was bittersweet in many ways. It was sad because we couldn't kind of have a proper farewell. The lockdown had just started, 2 weeks prior to us closing. And so we had to do takeaway, I think, for the last week or two. And it was kind of sad in that way that, we had put so much of our, literally sweat and tears. I'm not going to say blood because, there wasn't any blood, but there was definitely sweat and tears, into it. And, to kind of just go, okay, we're closing the doors and that's it. Not being able to kind of say bye properly was a bit sad. But it was something that we know was a good decision to make at a good time, and I think in so many ways we're kind of lucky that we did it at that time, because I think with that last lockdown, a lot of restaurants really suffered to kind of get through that period. It was really, really hard. It was 3 months and, and so many people just kind of, it was a real struggle, I think, that last lockdown. And I'm kind of, we feel like we're blessed that we decided to do it when we did, and having Almond Bar really was our whole life. And, as the cafe is, but a restaurant, I think just you've got to give it so much more of yourself, creatively and physically and emotionally and, psychologically. It's a cafe, you kind of come in the morning and, you're there till the afternoon and you go home, and in a little bit of a way you can kind of switch off a bit, but a restaurant is you wake up in the morning and it's on, you're on from morning till night, and it's like that every day that you're open, so you do put a lot of yourself into it. So, letting go of that responsibility is kind of good in a way, and we knew it was a good time to do it.
Almond Bar opened the door for so many people to Syrian cuisine, and your take on it as well. Do you have any fond memories or stories from that time, looking back at your experiences with Almond Bar?
Yeah, look, there's many, Anthony. Like, I think, we had such amazing opportunities that came up for us at that restaurant. At the restaurant, and it was just, it was pretty amazing. Like, I think there were quite a few things. Obviously, one big one was being able to publish the one and only Syrian cookbook in Australia was a big thing, and being able to write Syrian recipes on there. That was nice, doing that, having that opportunity. Going to Denmark for the Copenhagen Food Festival a few years ago, that was really cool, being able to do that, and going to the MAD Symposium as well, and seeing lots of Aussie chefs there too, and and being around that, and meeting lots of people through the restaurant. We'd have some really cool people come through, and a lot of guys from the industry came through, and and it's funny, there were a couple of guys that came to the cafe the other day that have been quite successful with kind of promoting Middle Eastern food and stuff recently, and they came to the cafe, and they were like, you and your sister really opened the doors for us, and really paved the way, and started, and it's nice to hear that, because you don't really think about having that effect on people, or kind of creating that, and that's what we wanted to do. We really wanted to change people's conception of Middle Eastern cuisine, and really gain a respect and a love for it that we kind of felt was missing as we were growing up. So, to kind of hear and see, that from people, and, and how Middle Eastern cuisine has changed. There's so many Middle Eastern restaurants now. It's unbelievable, and so, some that are quite fine dining and really beautiful. And, and that's just, makes me feel proud and happy that, we were able to be a part of that too.
As you mentioned a bit earlier, you've become a parent as well since we last caught up. Well, what's that been like?
Look, it's as you know, Anthony, it's amazing. It's nonstop, but it's so much fun. I probably get the easier part of the stick, as opposed to my partners who my partner is home full time. So, and I'm at work full time. So I come home, and it's all fun and games for a couple of hours before she goes to bed. But, we do dinner. I have her sitting in the kitchen with me now in her high chair, and I basically feed her as I cook for her. And it's just, I love it. I love sharing that with her. And, I tell her she's got her own little chef's table in the kitchen, and, so it's fun. And she loves food, which is excellent. So it's great. It's great.
Three Tomatoes is a real hidden gem in the suburbs of Sydney. Has it changed since you've been able to give all of your attention to it?
Yeah, absolutely. There's lots of things that have changed. I've been able to kind of create more here, as opposed to feeling like a bit stretched between two places. And, you can only stretch your creativity so wide as well. And, Carol and I we're both really the type of people that want to work in our businesses, not just on them. She does a lot of work on the business, and I try and do a lot of work in the business as well. But, we're really hands-on, and really, try and keep it that way, because we think it's really important to put, our kind of touch and our love for it in there. And I think people see that too, and our customers see that. But, it's definitely been different, since we've been able to be here full time as well.
Is there more of a Syrian offering there now that you're there full time?
Yeah, definitely. It's funny. We tried to keep it mixed for so long, and then I was just, and then I just started noticing every time I would put, a Middle Eastern dish on the menu, or a Middle Eastern special on, or something different, it did so much better, than trying to do something else. And so, it's made me realise that I should probably stick to, what people know us for, and, and create more of that stuff. But, and being able to do the things that we grew up with, that my mum did as we were growing up, doing the olives and selling those, and making, pickled eggplant and all the pickles and stuff that we would make, you know, growing up with mum, and, you know, being able to make all of those and offer those to people, and, you know, and yeah, having that, you know, available is nice. And I think, yeah, like I said, I tried to do a mix, but yeah, at the end of the day, it was, you know, the Middle Eastern stuff that seems to go better, I think.
How do you feel about, you know, you came from a world of restaurants, and you have just the cafe now, and you've got such a different work-life balance. Do you see yourself going back into that restaurant world and working nights, or is, you know, what sort of path are you on?
Well, it's funny you say that, because we actually applied for our liquor license recently at the cafe and got it.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. And so we're actually doing a pop-up dinner on the 2nd of July here, and it sold out within 2 hours. So within 2 hours, we had out completely. It's kind of, because Carol and I said, you know, I said to her, you know, there's something about the nights that I miss, you know, just the service and the different style of food, and, you know, and she said, yeah, I miss, you know, the rush of it and all that kind of thing. And so we went, okay, let's apply for a liquor license and do a, you know, a pop-up dinners. And so, yeah, slowly getting back into it. Not every night, not every week, but here and there we'll definitely do it, because I think there are elements of it that we love, you know, like the creativity that you kind of reflect on a menu in a cafe is very different to a restaurant, you know, and people's expectations in a cafe is very different. You know, what someone's eating for breakfast and lunch is going to be very different to what they want at a sit-down restaurant for dinner. And, you know, and it's nice to be able to really like pull out a lot of ingredients that I wouldn't normally use, obviously on a breakfast and lunch menu, and then to be able to do that for dinner is, yeah, it's nice. I've been slowly getting to the menu. I'm a bit nervous, but yeah.
Both Almond Bar and Three Tomatoes sort of were hubs of the community, but in different ways. Do you feel a different being in the sort of suburbs as opposed to when you're in Darlinghurst with Almond Bar? Yeah,
it's absolutely very, very different. I mean, you know, we grew up in the suburbs, and so this is normal to us. You know, being here, it feels a lot like home, I guess. In Darlinghurst, it's, you know, it's so close to the city, and it's so, you know, so full on and crazy, and you still meet a lot of people. You know, like I still went and catered a job for a customer as a customer of ours from Almond Bar on the weekend. I went and did a job at their place. You know, so we still have the connections there, and, you know, still keep in touch with our customers from there. You know, a lot of them, and quite a few of them have come to the cafe as well. But yeah, there's definitely a difference. But we always try to create a community at the restaurant, you know, by having the big Syrian barbecue and, you know, events and functions on that the community could kind of come together for as well. Unfortunately, COVID kind of ruined a bit of that. You know, but yeah, it's also different at the cafe because you're seeing people every day. You know, you get to know them, their families, when they're going away, their kids, what schools they go to, you know, like you get to know everything about them because these are people that you see every single day of the week as well.
The last couple of years have been an absolute whirlwind, and you've had so many changes as well. Has it changed your approach to hospitality or what you want to get out of your career?
Yeah. Look, I think for a lot of people in the industry, it's made them realise that, you know, we definitely. I think the last few years, Anthony, the industry has realised that there needs to be more of a work-life balance. You know, you constantly hear of like, you know, tragedies with chefs and, you know, hospitality, you know, restaurant owners and stuff where it's quite full on. It's you know, a massive effect on your mental health and your physical health, and can be such an unhealthy lifestyle in, you know, so many ways. And, you know, but I think COVID definitely cemented, you know, the need for people to, you know, spend more time at home with their families, with their loved ones, you know, like just balancing more of, you know, what's important in life as well, as opposed to really just being a workaholic a lot of the time. And, you know, I think having a child is what definitely did that for me as well. You know, I was absolutely obsessed with my work, and as most chefs are, I think. You know, but yeah, as soon as Zofia came out, I was just like, that's it. My whole life just turned around, and, you know, it's like you look forward, you're so excited to go home, and you're so like, you know, you just, yeah, it just changes a lot for you as well.
It's really exciting to hear that you'll be doing that dinner in July. What are you looking forward to when that time comes to cook at night in a restaurant style again?
It'll be interesting because we're doing 2 sittings, and the first sitting will kind of have a family friendly menu as well. So it'll be interesting to see how I can kind of adjust. I haven't done a family friendly menu for dinner before. I do it for lunch and breakfast all the time. It's not a problem. So it'll be interesting to kind of see that. And it's funny, you know, because I've got a child, I've got lots of nieces and nephews, and, you know, so I kind of am going off what they eat as well, what mum makes them, I guess, as the way to kind of go. But I'm looking forward to, you know, kind of challenging myself and then seeing how people, you know, in the suburbs will be with that food, you know, and because I felt like in Darlinghurst I could go a bit nuts, you know, and not worry. And, you know, as much as there was like a lot more dietary requirements in the city closer to town than there are in the suburbs, you know, there's still like, yeah, it's just different, you know, and so it'll be interesting to see how everyone kind of reacts to the flavours and the ingredients and the way I use them and stuff as well.
Well, Sharon, it's an absolute pleasure to catch up with you again, and it's so good to hear the incredible life-work balance that you've been able to capture. Please keep in touch, and we'd love to catch up again soon.
Thanks, Anthony. Will do. Thanks for having me.
This is the Deep in the Weeds podcast. I'm Anthony Huckstep. Stay tuned as we take a deep dive into the lives of the incredible people who ply their trade in the food and hospitality sector. Special thanks to executive producer Rob Locke for making this all happen. Follow us on Instagram at Deep in the Weeds Podcast, or email us at podcast@deepintheweeds.com.au. Stay safe and be well.